From a total of 1,832 airframes, it's understood that there are only 38 active Boeing 727s in use, nearly all of which reside in sub-Saharan Africa and North and South America. These operate very limited services in the roles of freighters and private aircraft. While they fall way short of the environmental and efficiency standards of any modern aircraft, with its 3 engines and overall design dating back to the 1960s and being largely unmodified, its attractiveness to some airlines is its relative mechanical simplicity, as well as it is being able to operate it in and out of more unprepared or underprepared airstrips. This is augmented by its rear-mounted engine design, reducing the risk of damage to the engines at these airports, as well as aiding its performance in hot and high climates often found in South America and African nations. Of these 38, there are a handful that are even more exclusive and unexpected than even the private 727s. One operates as a zero-gravity experience aircraft for Zero G, affectionately known as G-Force One, and flies in Florida and Texas. But if we hop across the pond to the United Kingdom, we will find the last 2 airworthy Boeing 727s in Europe. Registered as G-OSRA and OSRB respectively, and wearing a distinctive red and white paint scheme on the nose and tail, these planes are operated by 2XL Aviation for their oil spill response company, Oil Spill Response Limited /OSRL, based out of the Teesside Airport near Darlington, UK. What sets these 2 old tri-jets apart from the others out there is how they're flown and what they're for. Instead of cargo or transporting executives, these planes have flown low and slow over oil spills, spraying oil dispersants over affected areas by using their own custom-made hoses at the rear of the aircraft. There are no other 727s in the world like them. So what are they, and how do they work? Delivered between June 2013 and August 2014, 2XL has 2 Boeing 727-200 freighters, the previously mentioned G-OSRA and OSRB. The first one, G-OSRA/Romeo Alpha, was the last 727 to ever roll off the production line in Seattle, all the way back in September of 1984. It was delivered to FedEx as N217FE, where it served for nearly 28 years until its withdrawal from freighter operations in July of 2012. In early October that year, it had been brought to the UK and was stored at Lasham Airfield, southern England, where it underwent a conversion to its new role as an oil spill response aircraft. It was ready for operations by mid-2013. As of January 2023, it is now 38 years old. The second airframe, G-OSRB/Romeo Bravo, was also one of the last 727s to be produced, with it also spending much of its career with FedEx in the United States, joining in October 1983 as N207FE. This was the 1,823rd 727 produced, making it the 9th from the last on the production line. It too left the FedEx fleet in 2012, with it being retired to Victorville on the 22nd of May that year. It spent the next few months flying sporadically from Victorville to Indianapolis to LAX before finally calling San Bernardino Airport in California from mid-2012 to mid-2014. From there, it was also flown to Lasham Airfield in the UK, where it would begin its new career with 2XL and OSRL as an oil dispersant carrier. It was declared operational in August of 2014. So what does declared operational actually mean? What sort of modifications did these aircraft undergo? One thing that former cargo aircraft have over former passenger aircraft is a strengthened main deck. The cabin where you and I would sit as passengers has to be able to take heavy cargo pallets for long distances without braking. This, in conjunction with a large main deck door for ease of access, allowed for the installation of a Tersis system. This consists of 7 liquid-carrying drums on the main deck, each being able to hold 2,200 liters of dispersant. Moved via a powerful pumping system at the front of the cabin, the dispersant is fed to the rear of the aircraft, where it's released by the aircraft's main modification, the dispersant booms. There are 2 removable arms located at the rear of the aircraft under the tail and engines. They have a total of 34 spraying nozzles with 17 on each arm, allowing for up to 1,200 liters of dispersant to be sprayed per minute. These arms are arguably the most distinguishing features of these two aircraft, as these are non-standard to the original design, instead being custom designed for OSRL's own operations. This makes these 727s unique in this respect. At any time, one of the two aircraft is at a state of readiness, usually with the other on standby in case of a mechanical failure or other kind of unserviceability with the first aircraft. A call will be made to the OSRL head office in Southampton, UK, who will establish the facts of the matter and then pass on all relevant information to the 2XL base in Teesside. In addition to information regarding the size and location of the spill, this relay of information will tell the flight crew whether this is a go or just a standby order. This allows them to A, know if any dispersant available at their destination is comparable with the TERSA system, and B, allows them to calculate aspects of the flight, such as fuel burn. The TERSA system can also be removed if traveling further afield from the UK to places such as Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, or the Americas in order to minimize fuel burn and increase speed, as it produces a lot of drag which can slow the plane down and damage its response time. OSRL advertises that from the moment a go order is given, they can have a 727 scrambled and in the air within 4 hours. Of course, an operation like this is challenging with regard to overfly rights and landing fees. This largely isn't a problem with spills in Europe. However, it is on longer sorties with multiple legs, as these territories where they do not have as much experience and prominence, and therefore may encounter more bureaucratic issues, such as being classed in the same as a regular airliner rather than an emergency one. Essentially, the further they go, the possibility they don't get the priorities they need increases. For overseas operations, the crew will hold what's called a flyaway pack. This can consist of general products to service the aircraft, such as equipment for filling the aircraft's dispersant tanks from tankers on the ground, such as couplings and hoses. In addition, these packs may consist of spare parts for the plane and spray systems. The main spectacle of an oil spill response flight is the drop, the spraying of dispersant out of the back of the plane. Typically, this will be at a low speed, low altitude run, performed at about 150 feet at about 150 knots. This allows as much dispersant to be released as close to the water as is safe and can be done in one or multiple passes. These drops will usually be done in conjunction with a spotter plane. OSRL currently has one Piper PA-31 Navajo, outfitted with cameras and sensors to provide extra information to the crew of the 727. The Navajo, though, is primarily UK-based. Range and weather permitting, the 727 can operate up to 3 sorties a day anywhere in the world with one aircraft. Oil Spill Response Limited is essentially a membership service, meaning that the service they provide is exclusive to their shareholders, Total, Shell, Statoil, Saudi Aramco, Petronas, ExxonMobil, ENI, BHP, and the Chevron Corporation. Oil spills from other companies are not covered under this program, and so far, the OSRL 727 has not been used in anger. The crew of these aircraft are typically from a military background, with experience flying large aircraft at low levels with additional attributes such as formation flying abilities, not mainline commercial pilots. While it's true that being a commercial pilot is stressful, a very certain breed of pilot is needed to execute a very specific role such as this. These 727s are flown by a crew of 3, captain, the pilot flying, first officer, who would also fill an observer role, and flight engineer, who is responsible for the operation of the pumps. In addition, the 727 has room for up to an additional 2 crew members, which may consist of a flight mechanic, used to monitor the progress of the dispersant and fix any problems with the drums themselves, as well as a 5th space in the flight deck for any other operational capability role. As previously mentioned, the OSRL 727s have yet to be used in an active oil spill scenario, instead largely being used on training missions to keep the crew's skills and operational ability sharp and fresh. This often means flying to certain designated areas in the North Sea or Irish Sea and practicing the low-level runs they're known for. This can also just be to go over the crew's general flying abilities, such as performing circuits around their base at Teesside, as well as flying to the 2XL maintenance base in Lasham. Sometimes, though, they do stray from the normal training for a day or two. For example, in December 2016, they demonstrated the skill of their pilots and the versatility of their aircraft by conducting a formation spray with both 727s off the Isle of Wight, UK. While stating that this isn't something that would happen in an actual spill scenario, it stands as a testament to the service these aircraft provide. Most notably, the OSRL planes are often a star attraction on the UK airshow scene. Since 2014, the aircraft is featured at shows up and down the country, such as those at RAF Cosford, Duxford, RAF Scampton, and more notably, those of the world-famous Royal International Air Tattoo and Farnborough Air Show. These displays used to largely consist of low passes, a go-around, and some slightly higher G maneuvers. However, after teaming up with the UK aerobatic group The Blades in the mid-2010s, flying extra 300s, the air display all of a sudden took on a more world-class quality. It now consists of low passes, a spray demonstration using water, and steep climbs and turns you'd expect from the likes of an Airbus and Boeing when showing off their latest and greatest aircraft at events like these. In addition, the aircraft will often take off and land in front of the crowd, giving everyone a front seat and unique view at such an old and rare aircraft, proving that the 727 even today is still a worthy aircraft for the roles it still finds itself in. OSRL 727s may be old, but that doesn't mean they aren't well suited for the job they do. Through a combination of high states of readiness and professional maintenance and flight crews, it's fair to say that these 1980s airframes will be in the skies, protecting the seas for many years to come.